Hello everybody, good evening. My name is George Morgan. As you can see, we have now fully interfaced with a webcam system here at ORL. Welcome to La España here for the Spanish Grand Prix here at ORL. First and foremost, folks, I think we should apologise for last week's stream. We had a bit of a technical failure going into Zandvoort. My computer, unfortunately, seemed to have died on me, so it was really unlucky, and that brought down the Russian stream as well for the time being, which did not help either. I'd like to say as well, obviously on the back of that, I'll start by saying I deeply apologise for that, and obviously we never aim for things like that to happen, but always happy to be back live on your screens here for Online Racing League action. Obviously Jarno Opmeer is still leading the championship after a very disappointing effort at Holland. Obviously not what we're expecting from the Dutchman. His home Grand Prix, we firmly expected after a very good qualifying session for him to net the P1. He finished in P4. Danny Moreno taking that victory after his second start only, yet to be outside the podium, Danny Moreno. So let's see how he can get on at Spain. Obviously, one of his, no doubt, hometown tracks or home country tracks. We'll look forward to seeing how Danny gets on in that. I mean, of course, we got many exciting drivers on this circuit here today. Obviously, we are the forefront of esports racing here at ORL, and hopefully you'll be able to bring more for your more for your enjoyment as well. As we just take a quick look at the championship standings, of course it's pretty ominous right now. As you can see there, Jarno Opmeer currently leading the way, 176 points to his name right now. Josh Idawu, 88 points for Haas. Matthias Collegon there in P3 with 53 points. Barry Burrowman there in P4, and obviously various drivers further down the grid. Of course, just a little bit of news as well to bring you folks. Obviously, Nicholas Matteo, and that, of course, one of the drivers to be signed by BDG recently, so obviously very delighted about that. The other driver signed by BDG is obviously Ruben Vallejo as well, driving for the Williams team. And Vallejo, we've seen some very interesting starts from him, currently 22 points on the board, and if we look further down, we can obviously see the actual constructors standings, where you can see the actual works of the teams. You can see going back there, the Jarno Opmeer is still spearheading the way at this moment in time. We'll just head to the action now though. And as we do so, the drivers are just beginning to head out onto the circuit. And as you can see, being led off by what looks to be Manuel Biancalila, who's now driving for the AlphaTauri team. Very oftenly we see him driving the Ferrari car, but he's here in the other Italian version here today, the blue livery, the Red Bull. They don't want to call it sister team anymore. They like to be considered their own team, especially after Pierre Gasly's heroics at Monza recently. Can Manuel Biancalila bridge the gap in achieving that? As we know, have a look at this track. I mean, obviously Spain, seldom seen as a grandiose circuit. Many people like it. I do, and always great to see it in Formula One. I think at the moment we're just having a bit of an issue, I think, with the domestic recording. Do bear with me, folks. I'm not sure whether you can hear the racing okay there. Obviously, I want to make sure that we have the up-to-date volumes on the stream here. I think it's all going okay. So yeah, all good in the hood, folks. But yes, Manuel Biancalila leading the way. Well, there's a couple of cars ahead of him, but we'll stay on board with Manuel. Obviously get this underway. Obviously Jack not with us, unfortunately, this week, obviously given the fact that he's moving to Hamburg, folks. So you've got me for the entirety of this event, as we now see Manuel Biancalila coming under the Emirates banner now, heading down to what will be turn 1. And as you can see, there's the AlphaTauri bombing his way down through the edge of the straight to the end of the straight now, coming round the Elf curves. And very soon he'll be making his way around the whooshing right-hander, that being the Renault Ben. Very soon he'll be tackling the stretch. The Pirelli banner over the top there as the AlphaTauri car goes underneath it. Just rounds the Repsol corner now and just tries to stick to the track as best he can. Traction has never been more important. Coming round the seat. And indeed, every curb counts. You can see Ben Szabo just ahead of him there. Obviously, no slipstream in ORL these days, folks. And these drivers have to use their own pure muscle in order to generate the power in these cars. He now rounds the Campsa corner. Under the DHL sign again, the AlphaTauri car looking ever prominent. The new livery flashing in the sunlight here at the Spanish circuit. And no doubt we'll be looking forward to seeing what they can post. Can they follow the heroics of Pierre Gasly at Monza, as we now see him rounded the Bank San Badell, coming up towards the Europe car bend now, brushing the curbs as well as best he can. He wants to try and stick to them. He wants to hit every apex. Comes round the chicane RACC, now the New Holland, and very shortly will cross the line. DRS opens up. The AlphaTauri will get us away with a 1:14.077, a very competitive lap time from Manuel Biancalila. Falconardi in P2. P2 with a 1:15.189 for the Racing Point. Obviously, to be named Aston Martin for next season. And it looks like it's going to be very interesting indeed. It's going to be very interesting to see how Aston Martin get on next season. Very interesting to see a green livery, obviously for the first time since the Jaguar team were in the sport. Obviously, given the fact that we've seen it a few times now, obviously with big teams, big manufacturers entering Formula One, and after all that, obviously not maybe fulfilling the potential we would have hoped. I mean, obviously Ferrari this season haven't had the best of seasons, but I think Aston Martin certainly have a good footing. That being Racing Point's standard of driving and racing this season, it certainly has been epic. But no doubt there'll be further question marks as to the performance of Aston Martin going into next season, whether they can carry on the form that Racing Point have embarked on already this year. Obviously, do apologise, folks. Obviously, I've got a new microphone here today. It's a Blue Yeti microphone, so it does pick up everything. So do apologise if that is the case. I'll try and obviously step away from it. It's actually a very sensitive microphone, so do bear with me. I've gone up in the world, no longer in the range of budget microphones, as we now see Sven Zerder make his way around the final bend. What's he going to post now? Sven Zerder returning to ORL. Let's it into P3 for the Red Bull team. Obviously not usually driving for Red Bull, Sven Zerder, but he has to on this occasion. Renault have adopted a new lineup, certainly for this year, and Sven has got a new Red Bull car to manage around this circuit. Obviously no love lost between Red Bull and Renault, certainly not into this season anyway. But I got to say, it's very interesting to see how Sven is going to cope now with the new cars in this game. I know he said he struggled a little bit. He had a few issues going in his way. A couple of punctures have entered his drive. Certainly that of Bahrain, where he ended up on the wrong end of a puncture. And that being towards the tail end of last season as well. He, in fact, struggled as well. But hopefully we can see a revitalised Sven Zerder. He's coming back into the fray of things now. And let's see if we can see him dominate once again. As we now look further down, we got Jarno Opmeer, the current championship leader, out on an outlap. Let's see what the Dutchman can do now on this Spanish circuit. Can he get this Alfa Romeo back on top spot? And as he makes his way around the next swinging right-hander, can Jarno Opmeer make things happen here for the Dutchman? He needs to turn things around since last weekend's disappointment at Zandvoort. Comes down through the home stretch, leading up towards the Elf curve. The turn one bend, Beckedin takes it into the corner now, swallows a lot of the curb on the outside, takes the other curb as well. He's a monster on this track as he now rounds the Renault bend now. And heading under the Pirelli banner. You notice there that he was actually hugging a little bit more of the Renault curve than usual. Repsol bend now, rounding that into the seat. It's not your average chair, folks. This is a very tricky corner on the outset now. Brushing the curb once again on the exit. Coming down for this next left-hander. That being what will be the Verth curve heading up to Campsa. And you can see him there rounding the curve once again. He's going to want to... He didn't actually take any curve that time. In fact, most of it stuck to the track. Great driving there from Jarno Opmeer. Now coming down towards the Lakea bend. And this 90-degree left hand you've got to take with great care. Apply the power in the right portion in order to avoid a spin as he now makes his way around the Bank Sambadel. And as he does so, comes around the next right-hander as well. As soon as he does so, he wants to try and take... Oh, my word! A collision there with Manuel Biancalila. That is not ideal. And certainly, the current qualifying leader, that's certainly a setback for Jan Watmie. I'm not quite sure. We haven't obviously got a replay to see that, folks. But it looked to me... I mean, I'm not sure what you put that down to. Obviously, maybe a lapse in care there. I'm not quite sure. But that has put Jan Watmie out of the question, certainly for the early part of qualifying. Not ideal. And I think he got a bit lucky there with the impact. He could have very much sustained damage there, which would not have been ideal for the Dutchman. And certainly I'd imagine he's going to have a little rethink. Simon Vigan currently out on track as well, just round in the Campsa corner. And heading down towards the Lakea bend himself. As he does so, the Haas looking pretty good. They've got a good team lineup, unfortunately down to one car tonight. Obviously usually donned by that of Josh Ido, who's currently P2 in the championship. And certainly the Welshman has provided us with many epic encounters this season. Obviously him and Jarno Opmeer have had many scores to settle over the course of this season. But certainly at this moment, you can see that it's all on Simon Vigang to make things happen. And we know he can do that. Just that, in fact, as he comes up towards the line. P1 for Simon Vigang. A 1:13.724. A great lap time again. And certainly gives him certainly a little bit of encouragement. Obviously, he's had a very difficult start to the season. Things haven't been as easy for Simon Vigang this year. Obviously, Last year, he was contesting for P3s every weekend. I think obviously we're now seeing more and more esports drivers trying to tackle that of ORL, which is great to see. And we now see that Manuel Biancalila is out on track. Matty is currently out on track as well. Most of you will know him as Onyx. And he is donning the Renault livery here today. And certainly Matthias is going to be very, very happy with that. P3, what a great showing from the young man. A 114.1 to his name. And certainly that'll take him a long way as we look further down as well. Matthias Collegon out on an outlap as well. Now this man, certainly one to watch. He has given us many dramatic moments this season. Very closely contested with the likes of Jana Watmir and of course Badia Burramand, his teammate obviously in previous races. But Matthias has had to obviously leverage the team up himself ever since until Danny Moreno came along. Danny Moreno currently in P7 in qualifying. Obviously that's not to be taken lightly, folks. I mean obviously later on in qualifying we'll start seeing the guys tackle the track with a little bit more pace. You'll have a little bit more heat on the circuit. That'll generate a little bit more stickiness in the tyres. And that'll help your traction and certainly the pace as well of some of these F1 cars who rely on the downforce to certainly tackle these corners. Certainly here at Spain with great precision as we now see Matthias Collegon heading down the stretch. And very soon the Elf curve will be the first for him to take. Will he swallow the curb? He certainly will. He's pretty much doing what Jana Watmir has been doing. Heads up towards the next right-hander, that being the Renault curve, heading down the stretch now into what will be, well, under the Pirelli banner. And around the Repsol curve you just saw there. That was Nicholas Matteo, the recent BDG signing. Just letting the Merckman head on around on his fast lap as he now makes his way around the seat. Very soon, Verth curve. Just tackled, maybe just rubbed a little bit of the turf there. Not ideal for Matthias Collegon. Just heading round the Verth curve now. And heading round Campsa corner. Obviously this is a fast one you can pretty much take flat out. Opens up the DRS and will now head down towards the next difficult left-hand corner. That being, of course, the Lakea bend. Just see that Lucas UK is the only man actually set a lap time out on medium tyres. Has set a 120.241. That's a good 5 seconds slower than that of Mr. Anker, who's currently in P10. As we now see Matthias Collegon rounding the chicane RACC. Very soon it'll be the New Holland corner. The Black Arrow looking to once again dominate here. Can he go ahead of Simon Vigang as we now see Matthias Collegon cross the line? And it's going to be no lap time set just yet. Maybe a little bit of an invalidation heading into that. It looks like he's going again. So we'll certainly see what Matthias can do later on as Nicholas Matteo heads out on his fast lap. Ruben Vallejo coming across the line to commences as well as Nameless. And Manuel Biancalila out on a fast lap too. What can this man post? Because certainly, well, he's out on an out lap as well. So no drivers coming in towards the end of their laps just yet. Falcon Nardi is also slowing up, maybe to make a restart once again. So we're going to stick around with Matthias Collegon now. The Black Arrow man heading around the next left-hander. And just bear with me, folks. I've just noticed that there's actually a few comments there about the microphone. Do apologise. I'll be right back with you shortly. Sorry about that, folks. I've just had a look at the mic open. Hope that improves things. I think we just had a little bit too much spice on the end of that microphone. Do apologise, folks. So hopefully that will be improved. Please obviously state in the thing. I'm still trying to adjust to it, obviously, for streaming, and hopefully that'll help. I mean, obviously it picks up everything. That's the great thing about these new Blue Yeti compressor microphones. They do pick up a lot of sound. So hopefully that should help. As we now see, Zones now making his way around the next right-hander. Manuel Biancalila was not able to improve on Simon Vigang's lap time, who actually still nails top spot at this moment in time. We're now seeing Zones round the final corner. What can the Racing Point do as he heads up towards the line? A little bit of improvement out to P12, a 115.173. And certainly a great showing, certainly from him. So hopefully, well, he goes ahead of his teammate anyway. Falcon Nardi, P12 for that Racing Point. We'll look forward to seeing what Racing Point can do in this race. That is for sure. But Zone still in P12 as things stand. And the Pink Panthers, I'm sure, will be looking for an improvement in their fortune, certainly in this race, because they've been a bit unlucky over a lot of the contests. And they've got the pace of the drivers there. The Falcon Nardi certainly has shown it in the past, as we now see Matthias now making his way around the Kamsa corner, soon to be heading round towards the next left-hander, and that being the Lakea Bend. And this Renault certainly has the power to certainly tickle the top end of this classification. Can he go ahead of Simon Vigang? That's the big question. I'm sure Onyx will have that on his mind as he heads around the chicane. Oh, a little wide there, in fact, from the Renault. Not ideal. And as Matthias now makes his way into the pit lane, certainly was not happy with the end result of that, as Zones is now out on his obviously cool down lap, as we now see Tomek Peradzik out and about. We haven't seen much of Tomek recently. It's great to see him back and about here on circuit. The McLaren, the orange McLaren. Obviously, McLaren have a very, very wide history in Formula 1. And certainly Tomek will be adding to a bit of that. Just going nice and steady on his outlap. In a sense, this could be conserved fuel if he's going out on a light load, to obviously generate the maximum pace he can on his fast lap. But I know he's going to want to try and get into the top end as best he can. We've still yet to see Jarno Watmir up at the top end. He's staying in the pits for the time being, obviously waiting for the track to be at its most optimal temperature. And certainly with many of the drivers in the pit lane, that's not going to help. We're now down to the final 2.5 minutes. So if Jarno and Nicholas want to nail a lap time, they want to do it now and soon. Matthias Collegon also out on an out lap, looking to get his times in the bag as Tomek Peradzik comes round the final corner now to commence this fast lap, as we now see the McLaren out now with a punch, heading down the stretch. And looking to once again tickle the top end alongside the likes of Simon Vigang as he now heads into the Elf corner. Very nice and steady indeed, taking every curve and curving every single rock around the pool that is Spain, as he now heads round towards the Pirelli banner. Very soon is going to be the next right-hander, and that is Repsol heading up towards the seat very shortly. That diving left-hander that you've got to take with great care. You almost want to turn it into it early and hug the curb, as the McLaren now, the orange McLaren on the outset, cruising over the latter stages of that curve into the Verth curve. Once again, rubbing every curve possible. And heading round now towards the stretch now before he meets the Lakea Bend. And indeed, he's going to want to try and do his utmost to make a difference here, certainly to McLaren's fortunes this season, as he now rides up through the next left and right. Heading down the stretch towards what will be the Europe Car Bend, into what will be the chicane RACC. Round to those couple of corners now, heading round the final bend now. This is obviously the New Holland right-hander up towards the line, and it's going to be for the McLaren. It's going to be P5, a 114.180. Very impressive on the medium compounder tyre. So don't write off Tomek. Strategy-wise, this could help him out a lot, and I'd imagine it would certainly be a big coup for the McLaren team. We can soon find out anyway. And I'm hoping, certainly for their sake, they're going to want certainly a good battle on their hands as they come down towards the next left-hander now. Just obviously Tomek Peradzik looking for an improved performance. Obviously he's been in the podiums before, he knows what it's all about, he knows the challenges that are afoot, and I'm sure he'll be looking to cement his place in the top end. Certainly if he can start in the mediums and keep the pace, it'll put him in certainly a good position. And definitely will be interesting to see if he can keep hold of it and give himself every chance of a potential good result here. And looking further down, you can see that Matthias Collegon and Jarno Watmir are also out on laps as well. Let's see what they can do, as we now see Jarno Watmir rounding the Bank Saint-Bedel now. The Alfa Romeo looking to once again do damage to this group, coming around the Europe car bend into what will be the RACC chicane. The Alfa Romeo car looking to do damage once again. Can he get to the top end? Jarno Opmeer across the line. The Dutchman, P3 for Jarno Opmeer, 113.935 on the medium tyres, just like Tomek. And certainly that'll give him a great position to start in this race. Matthias Collegon off the track as well. Not a great show in here for the Mercedes driver. Simon Vigang holding on to P1. Nicholas Matteo still out on his fast lap. Can the youngster, the young pretender here for the Alfa Romeo team, get himself up to the top step, joining his teammate? It's definitely ideal if he can, because it'll give Alfa certainly a great opportunity on different strategies to try and nail down a top end place, as Nicholas now rounds the final chicane into what will be the last bend. A little bit swervy on the outset of the chicane, heading round the New Holland. What can Nicholas Matteo do? Coming down towards the line, and no, I'm sure that would have upset his lap, but he's managed to nail a 15th place. Not ideal at all. That's going to be the end of qualifying. The two Mercedes not able to improve, with Danny Moreno down in P16, which is certainly not ideal, but Simon Vigang, credit to the man. P1 is going to be going to him. He's going to be well pleased with that. The Haas driver, he's had to deal with so much adversity over the past couple of seasons, but has managed to bring himself back here in the HyperX ORL League this season. And Simon Vigang is your pole position driver here today. Manuel Biancalila, P2, great showing from him. Lucas UK, P3, great showing, as well as Jarno Opmeer on medium tyres, no less. And he's got a 5-place grid penalty, as well as Biancalila, so that will not help. Matthias, or Onyx, should we say, in P5. Sven Zerner, P6. Nameless, P7. Tomek Paradzik, P8. Corny, P9. Falcon Roy, P10. Nardi, P11. Zones, P12. Ben Zabo, P13. Mr. Anchor, P14. Nicholas Matteo, P15. Danny Moreno, P16. Ruben Vallejo, Matthias Collegon round off the grid order, P17 and 18. But for now, folks, please have a listen for our sponsors. Welcome back, folks. Obviously, we're about to get ready for the start of the race. Obviously, a pleasure to have you with us, certainly for the Spanish Grand Prix. Apologies for any of the mic. I've just been checking the chat. Obviously, there seems to be a couple of issues with the microphone. I've just been checking everything. A bit strange, but we're just about to wait for the drivers to go out on their formation lap. So we'll bring you the action very shortly, folks. But obviously, a great showing, certainly for some of these drivers at the start of qualifying. And certainly, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on through the course of this race. Obviously, Simon Vigang, very impressive, certainly to get himself back into the top end of things. You can now see Simon leading them round the initial few bends of this track. And Lucas UK there in P2, obviously with the penalties we've seen and certainly received on the circuit, it has given them certainly a little bit of an opportunity in order to pounce on the better points positions, and certainly Simon Vigang will be looking to do just that, improving his prospects. Obviously, Simon has sort of struggled after a couple of frequent retirements this season, 5 retirements to his name since the start of the season. Obviously, Brazil and Austria for that matter, as well as the likes of Australia and not forgetting Bahrain. And we also unfortunately had one in the Netherlands as well, which wasn't ideal. So this would just be the perfect result to get him back into the right frame of mind. Obviously familiar with finishing in the positive points sector. He did finish 5th at the very start of the season. So he's definitely got the potential, and definitely, as long as he has the confidence behind him, he can certainly do it. So definitely watch out for Simon Vigang here today. And hopefully he can certainly pull off something of a little bit of a coup here for Haas. I mean, I'm sure he does certainly deserve it. And I'm really hoping we will see that from him as well. But obviously, very much looking forward to seeing what all these drivers do on this track here today. And as all of them have certainly the talents to certainly reign free around this circuit of Spain. And as we now see them now line up on their grid positions. It'd be very interesting to see who gets the win here today. Very different strategies made throughout the circuit. Jarno Watmir and Tomek Paradzis being the only two drivers on the medium compounds. We got Falcon Nardi down to Matthias Collegon, all on hards. So let's see what strategy pays off here today. There's Lucas UK, currently in P2 on the grid. And we'll look forward to seeing who gets what at the start of this race. It's going to be great, folks. Keep it with us. And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Simon Vigan gets away well. Lucas UK maybe got a better start, though, as they head down towards turn 1. In behind Onyx in P3, but also as they come down towards turn 1, a diving move from Sven Zerner gets him back up into the top end. He's in P4, nearly P3 though. Lucas UK, what a start there. Rattles and battles his way to the top. He takes the lead early on. There's the predicted strategy, folks. A bit late as far as we're concerned, but Lucas UK is leading the Grand Prix. Sven Zerner, a great overtake. Oh, running off wide there is Onyx as he makes his way off the track. Joins his teammate down below. Jarno Watmir dropping down to P5 after Nameless scalps him on the way up. A phenomenal show from Nameless to move himself up the grid order. Certainly Sven Zerner had something to say about that though. P3 for the German as he now makes his way around the next right-hander, the Kamsa, and certainly looking very fast is Sven Zerner. Lucas UK though leading the round. Sven Zerner in P2 and Simon Vigang in P2. Sven Zerner P3, Nameless in P4, Jarno Watmir P5, Bianca Lila P6, Matthias in P7, Tomek Paradzik P8 after a very dramatic start certainly for the young man, as we now see Corny in P9 looking further down. Falcon Roy and Falcon Nardi, the two Falcon boys in tandem, albeit different cars here today. Danny Moreno looking to get himself back up to the top end of things, is now making his way through. We're seeing a bit of a twist at the top as Simon Vigang is still trying to poke around for P1. Don't listen to the HUD, folks. It is still Lucas UK leading the Grand Prix, albeit just ghosting slightly. We get this frequently, obviously. A little few issues now and again, obviously, with the online lobby version, but I'm sure it'll come back to us. Simon Vigang still chasing for that P1 position. Looking further down, you've still got Sven Zerner plugging away to try and, well, plug on the gap to get into P2. As we now see the going around the next left-hander, you can see Lucas UK around. It's still leading the way, but Simon Vigang is still all over him like a nasty rash, as we now see Haas trying to close the gap and obviously looking to get his points back on the board. Obviously his teammate Josh Idaho, usually the man getting up there and getting the points for the team. Obviously Simon's got to try and do the dirty work here today as they now make their way around the Lakea bend, and Lucas UK still leading the way. Looking further down though, Falcon Nardi, he looks like he's got a bit of Trivial Pursuit going on here with Danny Moreno, who is all over the back end of him, trying to stay right in the back end of Falcon Nardi. You can see Falcon Roy there in the distance. The other Red Bull, obviously his teammate Sven Zerner, still in P3, but Falcon Nardi still owning P11 right now. Can he keep Danny Moreno off, who obviously won last week at the Netherlands? They now come round the next right-hander down the stretch, and you can see, as you can see, the paddock on the left, on the right-hand side, sorry, the crowds littered across the circuit. The technical boxes observe as their cars go rushing down the straight, and indeed, it's still Lucas UK. Sven Zerner getting ever so close to the back of Simon Vigang. Are we going to be seeing a rebirth of the man who used to drive for Renault in the Pro Series, coming back here this time for Red Bull, the rival team of that of Renault? Remember that tremendous dramatic scene in the Drive to Survive series where obviously Red Bull switched to the Honda engines and ended their relationship with Renault. That drama around Daniel Ricciardo's switch to Renault, it certainly did cause a few needles in the paddock, as we can now see Sven Zerner driving around the Red Bull car around Kamsa corner. Can he close the gap on Simon Vigang right now and really give himself a chance? They now come down towards the Lakea bend. Already we're in lap 3 of 33. The DRS will be active, folks, as they now round that left-hand bend. Looking further back, a gap showing now. Jarno Watmir still maintaining P4 though. He's managed to rise himself right up the ranks here. Is the Dutchman now coming round past the back Sambadel into the Europe car bend. Just look, the Michael Schumacher helmet being donned by the Flying Dutchman as they come around. Look how close he is to the back of Sven Zerner as well. Not leaving any stone unturned is Jarno Watmir, the challenger, or the challenger to the title, certainly. Well, the challenge to his own title, should we say, because he was last year's world champion, is looking to once again regain it, this time in absolute fashion, as he now comes around the next right-hander, Sven Zerner in P3. As you can see, the pressure now on the German, as you can see the Flying Dutchman of Jarno Opmeer cruising his Sauber around the next right-hander. The Pirelli banner just overboard there as they round the next right-hander, the Repsol curve. Sven Zerner in the Red Bull, leading wings here to try and tackle Simon Vigan. The gap is now beginning to solidify as you look further back. Nameless still there with Manuel Biancaglia just tucked in behind him as well. Looking further down, you can see Falcon Roy P10 just ahead of him. Tomek Peradzik and also Danny Moreno, who's still stuck in P12, not able to move just yet. But obviously the way the strategy works out, it probably won't matter. He's on the hards, obviously looking to try and take it the distance ahead of him, as well as Falconardi, who's currently occupying that P11 spot. Can Danny make a move here as he now makes his way around the next left-hander? Falcon Roy still there in P10. Danny Moreno has caused a real stir here since joining ORL as Falconardi runs wide, and here comes Danny Moreno. Whoa! Take advantage of that, my man. He moves up to P11. The Black Arrow, a phenomenal overtake. Well, smoothly as you like, as you say, obviously after that mistake by Falconardi. And Danny Moreno now moves himself up to P11, one place outside of the points, and now he can try and focus on Falcon Roy and regain another spot. Obviously, another win on the cards would certainly delight his fans, no less, as we now see Manuel Biancaglia now overtaking Aimless to take that P5 spot. He is now going to try and chase Jarno Opmeer. Obviously, Biancaglia was in front in the qualifying from the get-go. Nailed in that quick early time. Wasn't able to hold on to it after, of course, Simon Vigan managed to knock him down a peg or two, as we now see him round in the next left-hander. And certainly Manuel Biancaglia is going to want to try and get that AlphaTauri back onto top spot. Can he do a Pierre Gasly? That's the big question. And obviously everyone wants to see it, because certainly that was a spectacular race, wasn't it, at Monza? I've got to say, I don't know anyone who didn't watch it and had their mouths wide open in the absolute drama that was the Italian Grand Prix. As we now see Manuel Biancaglia round in the next left-hander, certainly looking ever prominent, trying to close the gap on Jarno Opmeer, and it's 1.2 seconds he's got to find, as Jarno Opmeer is now all over the back of Sven Zerner, heading around the Europe car bend now. The Red Bull is now under renewed pressure. The Alfa Romeo all over him like a nasty rash right now as they head round towards the home corner now, round New Holland. You can see there just rubbing the curves there, Jarno Opmeer looking to try and tug and a tussle on the back of that Red Bull, just trying to map his car right onto the rear wing of the Red Bull. Just see him, look at him all over the back end as he dives down the inside. A phenomenal move there from Jarno. The Dutchman strikes again. Oh my word, Sven Zerner off the track. A little bit of rough and tumble through the Elf curves, and that sends Sven Zerner into obscurity as Jarno Opmeer in P3 now chases Simon Vigan, only 1.2 seconds behind that of Simon Vigan and the Haas, and certainly with a great chance with these medium tyres on. Can he keep it going though? This pace needs to be maintained, not to mention the tyre grip, as he now makes his way around the first curve, heading up towards Kamsa corner. The Haas driver still trying to plug all over the back of Lucas, maybe to try and add a little bit of pressure to Jarno's run. Certainly I want to try and get in front as soon as possible, but Jarno's pace on these mediums is absolutely unbelievable here. It's absolutely unbelievable, managing to keep up with the best on the soft tyres. Further back, Manuel Biancaglia managed to prosper out of the chaos, but has actually dropped back 0.6 of a second from the Dutchman of Jarno Opmeer. Onyx in P5, his teammate Corny in P6. Phenomenal scenes. Tomek Peradzik also up there for dancing, also on mediums. Remember, it's only Jarno Opmeer and Tomek Peradzik on medium tyres, so that's certainly going to help them as they now rush down the stretch, and Jarno Opmeer sets the fastest time already with a 1:17.8. What a great lap time. Bear in mind, a lot of the grid are on softs, as we now see Nicholas Matteo having a move on zone 0. They head down towards turn 1, and he gets it done as well. So Alfa Romeo having a sterling start to their day, with Jarno Opmeer up to P3, Nicholas Matteo up to P11. The newly signed BDG driver is obviously looking to solidify his legacy here in that team. If he can get a positive result here, it certainly will go a long way towards his certainly his stock for the rest of the season. As we look further up as well, Danny Moreno, who's managed to go up a couple of places, is now up to P9, and of course is all over the back end of Falcon Roy. Obviously he overtook Falconardi earlier on, and is looking to dispatch Falcon Roy this time as he now takes that curve slightly better. And look at the speed he has off the back of the Capsa, heading down towards the K. Are we going to be seeing a late lunch here? No, he holds back. Not this occasion, he says. He's going to hold back, do his homework, and try and tackle this man a little bit later on. Coming around the bank, Sam Biddell certainly Falcon Roy has got a lot on his mind here, certainly a lot in his grill as well with that of Danny Moreno. That black Mercedes is certainly showing to be a menace or two for this Red Bull. Certainly old rivalries don't die, certainly here at ORL, as we now see Danny Moreno plugged into the back of Falcon Roy as they head down the stretch. The paddock on the right hand side, the Mercedes garage awaits in anticipation as Danny Moreno, not this time he says, as he goes into turn one, not making a move. He probably had every opportunity to be fair, but Falcon Roy under so much pressure he must be sweating buckets right now, because here comes the Mercedes. Danny Moreno under the Pirelli banner now as Jarno Watmir moves at the P2 after overtaking Simon Vigang, absolute scenes, but here comes Danny Moreno round the outside there of Falcon Roy, coming down towards the seat curve now, and no, he cannot get it done. Great defending there from Falcon Roy to position the car in the way that he did, keeping this Mercedes off his back, at least for the time being, but it's not over yet. Danny all over him, still trying to cruise that Mercedes into a prominent position. He wants that P7 like a man possessed right now, down towards the Lakea bend, glued right to the back of that, certainly that wheel spin coming off the back of that Red Bull. Certainly shows a sign of some tough braking there from Falcon Roy. Certainly the anticipation of a Mercedes cruising up towards your rear wing does not help the situation, as we now see Danny Moreno rounding the RACC chicane with that of Falcon Roy as they make their way round, and Falcon Roy goes into the pit lane. Certainly it seems to me that Danny Moreno has the pace on these hards. He's showing it to be great here. Jarno Watmir now leading the Grand Prix with pitting that of Lucas UK, who now forfeits the lead and submits himself to the hard tyres, obviously to cruise to the end of the race on. But Jarno Watmir is your race leader. Simon Vigang P2 after being dispatched by the Dutchman, and already a 1.6 second gap in between that of Jarno Watmir and Simon Vigang, and that being the difference already in 8 laps between the mediums and the softs. That is unbelievable. But bear in mind, Tomek Peradzik, who's now in P3, a great showing from him, also on the mediums. Maybe that's the strategy here today. He's only 1.5 seconds off Simon Vigang. This is the point where the softs will have to be changed, and as we can see, a lot of them donning the hard tyres for the one stop as they now make their way around the Kamsa corner. Tomek is still clear by 0.6 of a second, and look who it is again. It's Danny Moreno, who's looking to tackle his very own team, in fact, because of course he has signed for McLaren Shadow as a driver for the F1 Esports Pro Series. Though currently driving the Mercedes, he will be battling his own team car, that would be in Tomek Peradzik. Can he get it done here before the start of that lap 10 as they now make their way out of the chicane now, heading round the final corner of New Holland? The Mercedes all over the back of Tomek now as they come up towards the line. Certainly it's going to be interesting to see, can he neck himself a good position here as he moves or cruises into P3. Looking further up, Jarno Watmir managed to create even more of a gap. It certainly looks like the Dutchman's race so far as we see Simon Vigang pitting for hards here, already managing to spring a gap of 5.8 seconds on Tomek Peradzik. Looking ever potent is the Dutchman once again, proving his mettle and his tenacity at this incredible Spanish circuit. And for all its history here at Spain, we've never seen such domination, certainly, but Jarno Watmir has provided us with that all season. We've seen many races where he's certainly led from the front. Obviously he's had a few issues through the season, but already we're starting to see that fire rekindling back in the Dutchman after that last week's disappointing race at Holland, or Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix in fact, and it certainly has lent him to understanding that he needs to be at his best at all times if he wants to try and steal this championship at an early stage. Remember folks, he has got a clear-cut lead of nearly 100 points on the rest of the field. Josh Ida, we won 88 points so far prior to this race. Jarno Watmir 176, so literally he is streets ahead of the field, but you cannot count any driver out in this league because certainly all of them are all professionals here, as we now see Danny Moreno all over the back of Tomek Peradzik making use of the DRS. Here comes Danny in the Mercedes-Benz coming down towards the next right-hander, and look at the back, Falconani having a look as well, but it's all about Danny. P2 for that man, and now he knows he has to try and cruise up on Jarno Watmir. It's the Dutchman and the Spaniard. Round 2, once again round 3 on this occasion, certainly after what happened at Zandvoort, as we now see Danny rounding the next right-hander. Tomek Peradzik 0.6 of a second away, just 4 forfeiting that P2, but he needs to try and stay in the DRS. We see a late lunge by Nicholas Matteo coming round the C curve, just loses it nearly there. Bit of oversteer, not helping that of the Alpha as they head round the Wirth curve. Certainly Falconati under a lot of pressure once again, this time off Jarno's teammate, that being Nicholas Matteo. Don't count this man out, he is a man of mystery, and I gotta say, he's looking ever potent, having a little look once again. You gotta admire the tenacity, certainly, of this youngster as he now rounds that left-hander into the next chicane. Very soon, the back Sam Bedell. You can see the crowds on the left-hand side making up that grandstand, that stadium section that we're used to seeing as they now round the Europe car bend into the chicane RACC. Falconati still holding his own. The Alfa Romeo there of Nicholas Matteo. Tomek Peradžić dives into the pit lane. Can Nicholas Matteo get a move done and get into the top three here with a little bit of help from DRS? Danny Moreno setting the fastest lap on hards with a 1:17.433. Phenomenal pace here from the Spaniard. Obviously the track heating up has certainly lent himself to that, but he is obviously really pushing to try and close up with the Dutchman of Jarno Opmeer. He's got to try and get the time gap shortened quickly before Jarno pits, because obviously when he pits he's going to want to try and get the undercut done in order to try and get the lead of the race. Absolutely, as we now see Nicholas Matteo for the Alfa Romeo team. Alfa Romeo currently with a car in P1 and P4 so far. This certainly helps their quest for competition wins here at ORL. Certainly where the constructors is concerned, they're 210 points at the moment to their name. Mercedes 99 points, so they're doing extremely well. Alfa Romeo, they're well above or a little bit above the 100-point gap between them and Mercedes. Of course, that could all change with Danny Moreno now in the team as well, obviously joining his very, very fast teammate Matthias Collegon. And looking further down the grid, of course, we've got a few battles being littered around. Obviously, Simon Vigang, who's since pitted onto the hard tyres, fresh hards. He is now trying to close the gap on Lucas UK. Remember, this battle was the start of the race. And obviously, despite the other drivers, they've all these are the guys who have pitted leading the way, technically. Obviously, that'll be decided when we see Jarno Opmeer pitting as well as Danny Moreno. And very likely, I think we're going to be seeing a straight gun-slinging race in between certainly these four. We wouldn't count out Jarno Opmeer certainly at this stage, given the fact that he's managed to spring such a lead upon Danny Moreno, and Danny's fighting as much as possible in order to try and close that time gap of 6.5 seconds, but the Dutchman is relentless at this moment in time as we now see Simon Vigang rounding the right-hander. Lucas seems to have the edge at this moment though, and albeit he's got a lap more on those hard tyres right now. Simon Vigang still pushing. Sven Zerner going ahead of Corny there. You can see Corny having another look though on the inside. Can he get it done? As we now see the Renault having a look all over the back once again of the Red Bull, and VSR Corny looking for the double there, trying to get the overtake back, as well as Tomek Peradžić, who does not want to be stuck behind this traffic, certainly seeing as he's just pitting. Technically he's the last of the running cars because Mr. Anker is out of the race. As we now see Sven Zerner, who's under a lot of pressure once again, seems to have gone from a very reasonable qualifying session to suddenly having a little bit of grit in between some of these drivers, certainly at the start of this race. As we now see them heading down towards the Lakea. Having another look is Tomek Peradžić down towards the Lakea bend on the outset now, heading up towards the next chicane. And just look at Tomek there, ever prominent once again on the back of Corny. You can imagine now that Tomek's going to probably try and unload some of the power of this McLaren, certainly on the outset of the New Holland bend, which is they're coming up to now. You see Sven Zerner leading them round. Corny managing to get a reasonable exit out of the final chicane, and certainly that'll go a long way, certainly where DRS is concerned, as we now see that Mattis as well now moving up into P11 is Onyx, goes ahead of Nameless. That's a great move certainly from him, and certainly lends himself to a great opportunity later on in the race. As we now see the Renault making its way around the Repsol curve, and if he could try and take this race by the horns, it certainly will go a long way for him. Simon Vigang as well, chasing Lucas UK. That time gap has actually come down, my word. There, nearly spoke too soon there. Simon Vigang nearly cruising off the track there. Certainly the Haas does not want to be playing games with the tyre wall, or any walls for that matter, as they now round the Campsa corner. And certainly does not want to lose any of that car. Certainly being the only Haas driver out on track here today. The points all rest with Simon Vigang as they round the next left-hander, as they head up towards the next chicane. And indeed, looking further up, we got battles across the track. Nicholas Matteo also coming into blows now with Falconardi once again. Remember this battle we saw earlier on? It certainly looks like there could be some manoeuvres going on up towards the top end as we now see Nicholas Matteo coming down towards turn 1. And BDG all looking on in anticipation as their new driver cruises up into the top 3. He is yet to pit, but he's certainly menacing. Alfa Romeo Ps1 and 3 here at Spain. Certainly a great showing from both of them here. And Nicholas Matteo, this young kid who has really impressed me this season. Of course, he's had a few issues with penalties as we see Sven Zerner retiring from the session. Not sure what happened to him, but certainly he was struggling on quite a number of occasions through the race here today, and very nearly came a cropper after battling with Corny earlier on, of course, and not forgetting that tussle with Jarno Watmir as well. But nevertheless, very unfortunate to see Sven Zerner out of the race. As we look further down, we can see Ruben Vallejo, another signing for BDG, looking to try and move his way up the grid positions. And just looking now, you can see there Nicholas Matteo still trying to cruise around this next right-hander, and I think he is improving the gap. It's already up to 0.8 of a second, so he's got the pace as this youngster, and he's closing on Danny Moreno because he's only got 2.4 seconds to find. So he's doing extremely well. He's finding this pace, and Alfa Romeo can be very pleased with their young starters. Jarno Watmir, who's just come into the pit lane, means Danny Moreno now takes the lead. Nicholas Matteo in P2, Falconardi P3, Ruben Vallejo. Where does Jarno come out? Because this could be crucial, because you can see further down, Lucas UK around in the final bend. Can the Dutchman get out in front as he comes up out to the pit lane? This is for the race lead, folks. Here's Lucas UK going down the pit lane. Here's Jarno in the distance. Jarno Watmir is your net race leader here for the time being. He's come out on the hard tyres. Game on, he says, as they come round the next right-hander. The Dutchman can take this race here as long as he keeps it on the track. Bear in mind, he has still got work to do. Drivers ahead of him that's still yet to pit. But Jarno Watmir, technically your net race leader here at Spain. What could this mean for the end of the Grand Prix? Lucas UK still in P2. Simon Vigang, net P3. Of course, in real life circumstances, P8, 9 and 10. So we'll soon see how this affects the grid order as the top-end drivers currently pit. Danny Moreno still holding his own, trying to do what Jarno did and trying to create a gap in order to pit effectively here as he now rounds the final couple of bends. It makes no sense to pit this as we just see that Matthias has actually left the session, that being Onyx, the Renault driver. I'm hoping he can get back in as they make their way down the stretch. Danny Moreno still leading the way. He's got about a 3-second advantage over Nicholas Matteo, who is there in P2. He's managed to increase his gap by about 1/10 of a second, which will certainly help him. And he needs to try and break that DRS if possible to try and say goodbye to Ruben Vallejo. But Ruben, his new clan teammate, or his esports teammate, is certainly trying his best to try and stay in tow with this youngster. Certainly as we now see a battle at the lower end as Simon Vigan gets a move done on Lucas UK, and certainly that could be vital as well in order for Haas's championship battle. Simon Vigan now trying to close on the Dutchman Jarno Watmir, and how prudent could that be? Obviously, if you remember, Lucas UK was ahead of Simon earlier on, and they had a straight tussle there before they entered the pit lane, and Simon certainly seems to be closing in ever so slightly on the Dutchman. 2.1 seconds the gap. No DRS will be available for him to use, but certainly given the fact that he is now trying to close the gap, he's been using that of Lucas UK and certainly the DRS off his back to close the gap on the Dutchman, and it's allowed these two to come back into the race for the lead. So certainly this will help. Obviously it's the net lead at this moment in time. Obviously the drivers ahead, it's still yet to pit as we now see Matthias Colligon making his way around. I'd imagine around lap 18 we'll probably be seeing some of these drivers pitting for a fresh compounded tyres, and whether it'll be mediums I'm not overly sure. As we now see, I'd imagine it would be, as we now see Danny Moreno coming into turn 1 and turn 2, and certainly this man has impressed us. We look further down, we can see Jarno Watmir now making yet more moves here because Matthias Colligon is now in the pit lane, Nameless as well in the pits, so they each move up a spot. Safety car out on track, folks, as Zones has crashed out of the race as well, so that's unfortunate. But great news certainly for Jarno Watmir, because now he can certainly try and take certainly the drivers ahead of him. This could effectively hand him the race lead if he can get round and certainly straight down to the pit straight as soon as possible, because certainly this will help him take the race lead and keep his fresh tyres reasonably fresh as well. So this gives the Dutchman a great fighting chance here of taking the lead a bit earlier than anticipated, as we now see Danny Moreno, who's now going to have to forfeit all that hard work he's done to now obviously wait for the drivers to catch up with him, because there's going to be a queue now forming behind the safety car, as standard by Formula 1 ruling. And soon as you can see now, the black Mercedes making its way down towards the Europe car right-hander. But as you can see, Nicholas Matteo P2, Ruben Vallejo P3. A great showing this will be for Alpha. If they can, I'd imagine you'll see them pitting now, folks. As they now come round, you see there Danny Moreno coming into the pit lane. Box, box, box indeed, as Nicholas Matteo. Will he follow suit? He certainly does. Ruben Vallejo following suit. So does Falconardi. Ben Zabo, I'm sure, will be doing the same as well. And indeed he does. Jarno Watmir will be taking the race lead here as expected. So let's see what will happen towards the end of this race. Certainly this gives Jarno a great chance here to try and shut up shop here for the end of the race. But obviously, remember, we're going to have a restart. And if you all watch Formula 1, restarts can provide with a lot of drama. Let's hope we don't see anything like Mugello, because certainly that would be a bit of a cluster, no doubt. We saw it all a couple of weeks back. Let's hope we don't see it again, as we now see Jarno Watmir leading the way. You see the safety car, the Mercedes safety car, coasting these cars around. Danny Moreno. We got a straight battle between the top end drivers that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. What a fist fight this will be. And fresh medium tyres for Danny Moreno. This gives him a great opportunity. And Jarno knows he's in great doo-doo here. Certainly if Danny Moreno can get himself off to a blazing start. Just bear with us, folks, because as this restart gets underway, it's going to give Danny Moreno a great opportunity to really apply his pressure on Jarno Watmir. Remember the time that was donned by Danny at China, no less. Remember that fight between the two of them. Jarno commented on the pace of Danny Moreno and how wickedly fast this man is. And no doubt he'll be a great coupe for McLaren for the F1 Esports Pro Series. Remember that name, Danny Moreno, folks, because you'll be hearing a lot of it come the start of the Pro Series, no doubt, as we now see the safety car round in the next chicane. Jarno Watmir still in P1, albeit knowing that Danny Moreno is right behind him. I mean, what can Jarno be thinking right now? Certainly the restart's got to be on his mind. And just look at him. Just look at the vultures in behind on fresh medium tyres. Just see that Onyx is on fresh soft tyres. So he'll have to do a two-stop, which certainly won't be ideal, certainly for him, unless he can take those softs to the end, which would be a very brave thing to do, certainly on his account, as the safety car makes yet one more loop around this track. I'd imagine it'll be coming in at the end of this lap, as we now see Danny Moreno in behind in P2. But we're going to be seeing a real battle here, folks. I cannot wait to call this. This is going to be the straight fist fight that we've all been anticipating all season. Remember, Jarno Watmir on hard tyres, Danny Moreno on mediums. And this is going to be the headline of the Spanish Grand Prix. But don't forget, Nicholas Matteo, P3, Jarno's teammate, the young pretender, who has been close on many occasions to snatching points. Don't forget this man, because I got to say, he is a wicked talent for the future, and we can't wait to see what he can do. It's going to be absolutely dogged, this battle. Absolutely dogged. Remember, Jarno will have no DRS. It's all going to be Danny Moreno, and it's going to be a mouth-watering battle between these two. And certainly, given the fact that the safety car is probably going to be coming in this lap, you can see Jarno making sure all preparations are made. Those tyres are going to need to be as warm as possible, because he knows he's going to need to grind every little bit of pace out of this car as he can. Just look at him weaving around the circuit, because it's got to be done. It's got to be done if he wants to try and maintain this P1 spot. Just looking behind Danny Moreno, you can see him doing the same. He wants to try and get these tyres warmed up. The streets of cars behind all eyeing up this man in P1. He's got a huge target on his back, because Jarno Watmir, the Dutchman, knows that he's going to be under pressure. Danny Moreno in P2. Can he claim another P1 victory here? Well, it'd be two in a row if he does so. And I wouldn't write him off, that's for sure. Just look at him there. He's got Jarno right in his sights, primed into the visor of that Mercedes driver. And, of course, McLaren Esports driver. Let's wait for it, folks. You can see the safety car dead ahead. Not sure if it's coming in just yet. I think it might be. The restart might be upon us. And indeed it is, folks. Jarno Watmir is going to have to send them off. Can the restart be a clean one? Let's not see a repeat of a hello. There goes Jarno. He's off on his bike. Here comes Danny Moreno. Restarts it behind. Ruben Vallejo also battling down further down down with Simon Vigang and Corny. What a mix-up here in the midfield as we now see the Williams and Ruben Vallejo moving into P4. Phenomenal move there by Ruben, taking Falconardi there. Ruben Vallejo up to P4. Nicholas Matteo still on to P3. Danny Moreno though. Let's not forget this battle as they head under the Pirelli banner. Round the Repsol corner. Jana Watmere still in P1. No twists at the top as Falcon Roy and Bianca Lila now battling each other for that spot here. Diving move. What a switch there by Bianca Lila. Diving late on the inside of the seat. Can't get it done. In behind you got Tomek trying to bring up the advantage. They round the first curve, and as they do so, no twists at the top, but just look at this string of cars. There's literally a foursome happening in the middle of the circuit as they now see, well, looking further down, you got Tomek Pradzik all over the back of Bianca Lila. Nameless there as well, a late lunge from Bianca Lila. Can he get the job done? Not quite, a little bit of ankle tapping. No movements made here in lap 21 as they now round the bank Sambadel. But what phenomenal scenes here as Danny Moreno closes on the back of Jana Watmere on the outset of the RACC chicane, round New Holland. Jana Watmere, the Dutchman, he can see him. Danny Moreno all over the back end. Will the DRS become active for this young man eventually so he can use the pace? You can see that gap closing. Just look at that aerial view shot. You can see Nicholas Matteo in the background there, just trying to eye up the Danny Moreno's car. Can Alfa Romeo get a potential 1-2 here? That's another possible result here. Obviously penalties being considered, of course. We know that Nicholas Matteo in the past has struggled with certainly penalty points, as we now see Jana getting really pressurised by that of Danny Moreno as they now round the next bend here on the outset of Repsol into the seat. It's still Jano in first place. Danny Moreno P2. Nicholas Matteo P3 in behind him. Ruben Vallejo bringing himself into the race. What a drive this man has had once again, showing all his competitiveness, his potential here today as Danny Moreno rounds the Kamsa corner. Jana Watmere in P1. The DRS will become active eventually. It'll be Danny's best friend, that's for sure, for when they start making these moves as they come round the Lakea. Jana Watmere up through the next chicane, rounding the Bank Sambadel. He has got Danny Moreno closing every bit at a time, coming round the Europe car bend. Can they get a move done on the home straight? That's the big question. Will we be seeing a straight fist fight between these two esports juggernauts as they now round the next right-hander, round the New Holland, heading down the stretch? You can now see Danny. He is trying to open up his car for a move here, because he's got to try and get as close as he can to the tail fin of Jana Watmere, and he needs to do it as soon as possible before those medium tyres die off. The Dutchman looking to try and preserve this win that he desperately needs to bring himself back to the top end, because certainly last week's disappointment, that defeat, that bitter loss to Danny Moreno will be fresh on his mind indeed. He'll be salvaged here at Spain if he can retain this P1 spot as they round the next seat corner. The Dutchman, ever prominent, holding on with every bit of his core. 0.4 of a second being maintained as he enter the first curve. As you can see, the Mercedes trying to draw ever closer. Matteo bringing himself in ever closer as well, donning that green and yellow helmet around now towards the stretch now before they enter the Lakea bend. In behind him, he has got streams of cars here as Danny gets so close to the back of the Dutchman as they now rise up through the next chicane around Bank Sambadel. Jana Watmere and Danny Moreno. It's round 3 here at Spain, folks. It's the thriller here at Catalunya as they come down towards the next chicane around the outset. Yellow flags in sector 3. It looks like Falcon Roy has had a bit of an issue on the track as they now round their way round the stretch, and you can see the DRS has become active as Jano sets a fastest lap of a 1:16.815. Phenomenal on the hard tyres as Danny goes searching. He can't quite get it just yet. Still, he's got to be patient. He's got time. He's got time. Jano still in P1. The Dutchman holding on. Danny Moreno P2 on those medium tyres. Nicholas Matteo P3. Ruben Vallejo still in P4. These are the group that are pretty much leading the way here. Yet another yellow flag in sector 3 there. Not sure what the issue is. Falcon Roy is out of the Grand Prix as we now see Danny all over the back end of Jano, the Dutchman, under a lot, and I really do emphasise on a lot of pressure. Remember China, he said Danny's pace was unbelievable. Well, now he's going to have a bigger challenge on his mind, because this is Danny on a much improved compounded tyre, certainly a faster compound, but for how long can he keep up this tirade on the back of the Dutchman here? Because obviously those tyres are going to wear off eventually, and certainly the pace that these guys are going at, they're not going to last too long as they now round the next Europe car corner. This one here coming round towards the RACC once again here in lap 24 of 33, soon to be lap 25. Don't forget, folks, HyperX for all your wireless technology. Be sure to check them out. And I gotta say, once again, it's a very wireless performance here for the likes of Jarno. Just look at him there trying to break the slipstream, but that's not gonna bother Danny, because all he's gonna use here is the DRS, because that's all he needs as they come round towards turn 1 now. No overtake can be made just yet. Coming round turn 2, turn 3, the pressure's still mounting. Jarno probably sweating buckets with this Spaniard on his tail as we now look further back. Manuel Biancaglia moving his way up into P9 after tackling Nameless once again. These two have had their own little battle going along as they now make their way around the next bend here, and it's Nameless trying to poke back his P9 position. Biancaglia could not hold on. A great move there by Nameless, moves himself up to P9. A great move indeed, swish as you like. Looking further up as well, Danny Moreno still all over the back of Jarno Watmere. This Mercedes in tow, coming down towards the next left-hander, the Lakea bend. The Alfa Romeo is now under real convincing pressure now. The DRS will be useful here for Danny Moreno if he can keep this gap of 3.5 tenths of a second. It'll be crucial as they now round the Europe car bend once again. Another yellow flag. This time I believe it might be Onyx once again. I'm not quite sure. As they round the next right-hander, the Dutchman still maintaining that gap. It's got up to about 5 tenths of a second. The DRS has opened up for Danny Moreno. Can he make it work this time? He's getting closer. Here comes Danny, the Spaniard, the machine. Danny Moreno down to turn 1. He gets it done. P1 for the machine, the Spanish machine in the Black Arrow. Nets that P1 spot. Jarno Watmere in P2. Now just needs to try and stay on the back end of Danny Moreno. With those tyres, he could go a lot longer. He can maintain the pace. But obviously, it's round 1 victory to Danny Moreno on this occasion. But this is not over, folks. We have still got none other than 7 laps remaining in this race. 7 laps of bone-crunching, fist-fighting here in the ring. Like I said, Thriller at Catalunya pretty much spells it out for you. As we now see Danny Moreno rounding Kamsa corner. Jarno Watmere rounding the same bend now. Heading down the stretch, the DRS open for the Dutchman. In behind him is teammate Nicholas Matteo, who is still in P3. A tremendous drive here from the youngster that is Nicholas Matteo as they round up through the next chicane, heading round what will be Bank Sambadel once again, this time in lap 26. And Jarno Watmere can potentially get a move of his own done here if he can get the DRS open and push his way down the stretch. We can yet again see a tussle for P1. Here, Danny Moreno rounds the final corner. Here comes Jarno Watmere, opens up the DRS. He is still quite considerably behind that of the Mercedes, just over 6 tenths of a second as they now come down towards the Elf curve. Danny Moreno setting the fastest lap of a 1:16.317 as they round the next left now. Danny Moreno still in P1, Jarno Watmere P2, Nicholas Matteo P3. The other Alfa Romeo doing a sterling job here to hold on to that position. Ruben Vallejo dropping back slightly here, though he has maintained that gap between him and Falconardi as they come round towards the seat here. This time the string of cars here, the DRS train has not let up, folks. They're pulling each other along here as Danny Moreno still maintains that 6/10 of a second gap between him and Jarno Watmere. Like we said, these are prominent F1 esports professional drivers, folks. They do not let up. They do not give up. They fight tooth and nail for everything they get. Nicholas Matteo getting closer and closer to his teammate. He is literally within near enough 4 tenths of a second. He is getting closer all the time, is the youngster. Can he actually impose his prominence on the Dutchman, his teammate Jarno Watmere, as they come round towards the next bend, the Europe car bend here in lap 27 of 33. And I gotta say, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the last few laps, because I gotta say, there's nothing between these guys. As we now see Jarno rounding the final corner, trying to close the gap on Danny, but Danny's holding on firm. He's still maintaining that 7.5 tenth gap in between him and Jarno right now as they're coming down towards the Elf curve here again. Ruben Vallejo still cementing that gap. There's literally nothing between these guys at this moment in time. Tomek Peradzik also having a battle of his own here. Biancaglia still very much ahead of him. Biancaglia got a job of his own on as well, because obviously that old battle between him and Nameless is still going on at this moment in time. 3.5 tenths of a second between that of Biancaglia and Nameless as they now make their way under the Pirelli banner. Tomek Peradzik also trying to join the fray as they come round this right-hander. Very soon it'll be the next left, and indeed it's still going to be Nameless leading around this contingent of cars. 4 seconds is separates him from Lucas UK, who's still in P8, trying to close the gap on Ben Zabo at this moment in time. But I gotta say, that time gap's pretty solid and it's been maintained for the last few laps, as we now see Nameless making his way down the stretch, leading down towards the Lakea bend. Biancalila right in behind him, as well as Tomek Paradzik, who is just late braking there. A little bit of a lockup there from Nameless and Biancalila, and certainly that'll help bring Paradzik into the fray as they come round towards the next right-hander, up towards what will be the Europe car bend, the AlphaTauri and the Williams. It's the battle of the blues here, heading down towards the next chicane. The McLaren, the orange McLaren, looking to set a trend as well as they come round towards the final corner. Nameless still leading the contingent. In behind him, Biancalila. There's literally minimal gaps in behind them, and the DRS is open here for Biancalila. He'll have a chance. He moves it on the inside, and the Italian team will shout and dominate here to take P9. A great move indeed for Biancalila. Certainly Pierre Gasly-esque as well. Takes P9, and Nameless has got to try and regain the position from a solitary point, that is P10. And indeed, Tomek Paradzik is going to be all over him right now like a nasty rash. We are in lap 29 of 33. No closer gaps than this one, folks. Certainly 0.3 of a second between Paradzik and Nameless is your closest battle at this moment in time. But it's amazing to see that the majority of these drivers are within a second of each other. Within a second. Literally, that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it just shows the quality and the absolute tenacity of every single one of these guys who practice day in, evening, morning, noon and night in order to improve at this game. As you can now see further back, Cordy locking up and going wide there. Certainly not ideal in his battle to try and tackle Tomek Paradzik as they ran the next right-hander. Tomek doing all he can, trying to tackle Nameless, but indeed Nameless is made of stern stuff. We saw it earlier after he tackled Manuel Biancalila earlier on, as well as Manuel managing to get his position back. This will give a chance here to Tomek if he can try and get the pace down the stretch, which he does indeed. The McLaren moving on alongside here of Nameless, and indeed gets the move done as we lose Simon Vigang out of the race as well. We got another DNF here at Spain, but don't take anything away from Tomek. He has retaken P10, and what a battle indeed as Jarno Watmie has managed to close the gap on Denny Moreno. Those mediums might finally be falling off now here at lap 10. Certainly the grip levels are going to be showing signs of wear as Jarno Watmie are now 0.6 of a second in behind Danny Moreno. He's brought it down by 1/10 of a second. This could be decided all in the final few laps here, folks. We've got 3 laps remaining, literally nothing left between these drivers. Certainly apologies for my voice here, folks. I'm trying to commentate this alone. It certainly has been a battle as we see Danny Moreno rising up through the next chicane, as we see Jarno trying to tackle tooth and nail in behind him as they round the next corner here, the Bank Sambadel round Europe car. Danny Moreno still leading the fray, still leading around this Flying Dutchman who we've seen every week, ever potent, until Danny Moreno came along and started putting a few spokes in the tyres of his car, as you now see Jarno Watmie still back by 0.7 of a second, trying to pull the gap back with DRS, heading down towards the first corner. Indeed, it's still Danny, the Spaniard, is still holding on to that P1 spot. The Mercedes doing all he can. Jarno is still trying as well. The Flying Dutchman versus the machine here today, folks. Once again, it is the 3rd race where these two have met in ORL, and indeed it's ever more enticing each time we see it. In behind him as well, Nicholas Matteo still pushing tooth and nail on his teammate. He has got so close to the back end of him, 3.5 of a second of the realm, and certainly showing his tenacity against such a hugely imposing figure of Jarno Watmie, who on hard tyres against a series of mediums, he is managing to hold on to P2. That speaks a lot of the pace surrounding this Dutchman, and certainly he's going to have the better grip leading towards the end of this Grand Prix. Danny Moreno knows that this Dutchman is not going to let him go, and certainly this 7.5 of a second gap has been maintained since these guys overtook each other previously, when Danny overtook Jarno going into turn 1 a few laps ago. So Jarno has not let off. If anything, he's conserving, getting ready for one last blast at the end of this Grand Prix, as we see the Dutchman now 0.6 of a second, nearly enough, coming up towards Danny Moreno now, trying to close this gap now. It's going to need to be either now or the next lap for him to get this P1 spot back as they head down towards turn 1. It's now's the time to apply the pressures here, Jarno. It's time to tussle, the round, the fight. It all starts here as they round the next right-hander. Has Danny Moreno got the bottle to hold on to this P1 spot with this really, really quick Dutchman all over the back of him as they round the next right-hander now? Literally 0.5 of a second separating that of Jarno and Danny as they head round the next left-hander now, nearly towards Firth Curve, and you can see the Mercedes still doing all he can to try and hold off the prominent Jarno Watmie
from taking this race by the horns as they come round the next right-hander. The Alfa Romeo is literally on a knife edge here of tackling Danny Moreno in what would be the most incredible victory from a man on hard tyres that we've ever seen. Certainly the greatest battles we've ever seen will be between these two as they now round the next right-hander. And indeed, as they make their way towards the Europe car bend, the next lap will be the final lap. It's going to be a last gasp for Jarno Opmeer. He's going to have to turn up the heat on this lap, folks. Bear with us. I'm going to have to take a swing quickly before the start of it. And indeed, here they go. Jarno Opmeer now, here on the stretch. Danny Moreno still ahead of him here. This is it. This is it. Jarno Opmeer, the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, gets it done here in lap 33 of 33. Jarno, out of nowhere, the man, the mystery, the myth. I gotta say, Jarno's done it. He's up to P1, but can he hold on? Danny is still there on medium tyres, 0.3 of a second. My voice is nearly at an end here, folks. This will be it. If I ever lose it, it'll be tonight. Jarno Opmeer still in P1, in behind him. Danny Moreno still holding on for all he's worth as they come down towards the seat, or round the seat into what will be the Verth curve. They're round each curve now. Jarno Opmeer still holding on. The Dutchman fighting with every bit that he's got. Danny Moreno doing the same. The machine needs to bring his hydraulic limbs here into play as they make their way down towards the Lakea bend. Jarno Opmeer still holding on to it, to his P1 spot, the P1 spot that he so desperately wanted after that disappointment last week that was the Dutch Grand Prix. Jarno Opmeer, he's coming around the Europe car bend. Danny Moreno in hot pursuit. Can they get it done? It's all going to be a question of who's going to do it here. Will there be any penalties? I don't know. As they come down towards the line, it's Jarno Opmeer, and he's going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. Danny Moreno P2, Ruben Vallejo, a great race, podium, first podium for Ruben Vallejo, I believe, this season. A phenomenal drive from Nicholas Matteo to get P4, number of points here for Alfa Romeo. Lucas UK gets up there, but what a race, folks. Absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe what I've just seen. Jarno Opmeer has done it again. He has wowed the spectators. He has wowed me. He has wowed ORL here tonight. Unbelievable. And I can just see we've got 450 people in the live chat. We are breaking records tonight, folks. Jarno Opmeer is your race winner. I cannot believe it. Absolute scenes here tonight. Danny Moreno, take a bow, good sir. Phenomenal drive. But yet again, it's the Flying Dutchman. He beats the machine. P1 for the Alfa Romeo and Sauber Esports driver. He can be proud of that. Phenomenal. He'll take all the points here. And we'll just about reveal the final classifications now. Jarno Opmeer is your winner, officially official here tonight. Danny Moreno P2, Ruben Vallejo P3, Nicholas Matteo P4, Lucas UK P5, Ben Sabo P6, Matthias Colagon P7, Falcon Nardi P8, P9 for Manuel Biancalila, P10 for Tomek Peradze, gets the final point there. Great stuff from Tomek. VSR Cordy P11, Nameless P12, Matthias Aaron P13, Simon Vigang, of course, DNF'd later on in the race. Falcon Roy, Anzone, Sven Turner, and Mr. Anker also joined him. But what a incredible performance, folks. I could not believe it. It was absolutely unbelievable. I just can't believe it. I really can't. It was, to this day, I mean, you're going to have to forgive me, guys. It's just, my voice is literally at an end. Absolute end. It's in bits. It's in bits. I cannot believe it. But I'm so proud of everyone here tonight. Phenomenal racing. And it's been absolutely unbelievable, folks. I got to say, I want to offer my sincerest apologies, of course, first of all. Sorry, I got the wrong screen on there. Sorry, folks. Oh, dear. It's just unbelievable. The interview screen is what we want. Interview screen. Stay with us, folks. We're going to be having interviews. I kept it going as best I can. My voice went to the end. Usually I have a co-com with me, as you know. Unfortunately, Jack's moved to Hamburg, so he couldn't be with us tonight. But unbelievable scenes here, and just unbelievable, absolute scenes here tonight. And I got to say, guys, 450 people in the stream. Are you kidding me right now? Kidding me? Unbelievable! I can't believe we hit that number. That's double our usual views. Guys, you deserve every bit of credit. Make sure you all check out HyperX. Don't forget as well to subscribe to ORL. This has been absolutely unbelievable tonight. We are rebirthing league racing here at ORL. It has been phenomenal to see the rise in all these drivers, and the community has been phenomenal. And I'm in such a position of luck to be able to commentate again along these guys. It's literally, I'm so fortunate to be part
of some of the best racing in the world. Just comment there from TJ Downing. Maybe don't scream the entire broadcast, you won't lose your voice. I can't do it, TJ. I can't do it. I just love it. I just can't do it. But unbelievable scenes. I just love it, guys. Thank you ever so much. Apologies for the microphone as well, guys. I hope it fixed itself. I just hope it fixed itself. Obviously, I was aware of some of the comments about the static. I'm not sure what caused it. It's the first time it's happened. But yeah, just absolutely insane. I'm actually sweating. That's how rough it is. But phenomenal racing by everybody, and everyone deserves a huge round of applause for that. And I got to say, we're going to be hearing from Jana Watmir very shortly indeed, of course, and Ruben Vallejo. I'm just going to obviously join the chat here. I can see that Ruben Vallejo is actually in the chat box now as I speak, folks. Ruben, are you there?
Yes.
Welcome to the podium, my friend. Excellent racing.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, just to let you know, Ruben, we hit record numbers tonight. 450 spectators watching ORL tonight. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
It was so difficult, I mean.
Yeah, amazing. It's a testament to seeing, such, league racing coming back to the forefront now, isn't it? I got to say, after historically, obviously, I mean, the F1 Esports Pro Series is now considered the pinnacle, but I get a feeling we're almost rebirthing league racing here tonight. But I got to say, we got to speak about the race tonight, Ruben. I got to give you such great credit because you were driving phenomenally. You kept yourself going. It was literally the tenacity in your performance. You were there fighting tooth and nail to get that P3. I mean, certainly you were aided, I think, by some penalties by Nicholas Mateo. But just to stay in there and battle amongst the drivers that you were in, you were P4 pretty much all the race, got P3 at the end, and I think you deserve that. Great drive. But just talk us through that race. Just how topsy-turvy was it?
Well, the qualifying, I think we all the drivers look for the P11, but I made a mistake, so I started P17, I think. I know that I have the pace to be there. Not in the podium, but I know that maybe in the top 7, top 8, I know that I can be there. The safety car helps the Hearts drivers a lot, and yeah, maybe lap 20, I know that Nico has penalty, so yeah. Well, it was like driving without touching the curbs and just finished.
Well, I've got to say, your performance this season has been very good. I mean, you had P7 at Brazil. After that, of course, you had a P5 at Bahrain. And not only that, you had a P9 at Vietnam, which is a very tricky circuit. And not forgetting P8 at the Netherlands. So your first podium this season, and you've been collecting points right through the season. You're very consistent. What does this mean for you, Ruben Vallejo, as a driver? Are we going to be seeing more dramatics? Do you feel confident in the car? Are we going to be seeing maybe even more dramatics from yourself? Are we going to be seeing Ruben Vallejo on the top step of the podium?
Well, top step, I don't know. Maybe Jarno and Danny, a lot of drivers deserve to be there, but obviously it's confidence for me to be on the podium. I think I deserve actually on some races for pace to be on the podium, but I mean, I want to be on the podium always, but yeah, it's amazing to be here with that beast out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to, I got to say, congratulations, Ruben, and excellent to be talking to you for the first time. Just a quick note as well, on your recent signing to BDG, of course, just talk us through that. I mean, how excited are you to be working with the likes of BDG for the foreseeable future?
Well, we need to work a lot, all the team, maybe teams, competitions, also individual. But yeah, I'm happy to be with BDG, so yeah. Hopefully we can do more podiums.
Absolutely. Well, I got to say, congratulations on a great P3, great drive, and we look forward to seeing more in the future.
Thank you very much, Joe.
No worries. And on to that beast in particular. Jarno, what are you doing to me, man? I thought I told you before not to ruin my voice again, but you've done it once again. An incredible battle with you and Danny Moreno. We all saw it after when the safety car came out, Danny coming out in P2. Just talk us through that. How much are you sweating right now? Because I hope you're sweating as much as I am right now.
Yeah, especially with 2 laps to go. I knew I had to push as hard as possible to stay with him. I had the DRS, so I could save some ERS in after the laps he overtook me. And obviously, the mediums and hard equaled out a little bit more in the end, which gave me a chance in the end. So yeah, it was all planned for that last lap since Danny basically overtook me, simply because the medium was going to be faster until that point. So yeah, it was not an easy race. Let's keep it like that.
Well, no, I was going to say it was quite a crazy race given the fact that we had the safety car come out. I mean, that was totally unexpected. I mean, we don't have a lot of safety cars in ORL, and of course we had that one towards the coming up towards the latter half of the race. I mean, you don't plan for these circumstances, of course. I mean, you must have had a plan going into the race itself. Obviously, you went out on the mediums, then to jump onto the hards, which was obviously the right thing to do. And obviously, under circumstances without a safety car, would you believe that you would have won this race a little bit easier than what you did?
Yeah, definitely. I would have obviously at some time undercut to Danny and the others in that group basically, and then it would have been a little bit easier. Originally, I planned to do a 2-stop, but then I got obviously taken out in qualifying on my first qualifying lap and got a penalty, 5-place grid penalty from the game. So then I decided to go mediums instead. Obviously, I couldn't choose my own tire because I was P9. So yeah, I got a good first lap, and then from there on, it was just trying to get as fast as possible past the soft runners, which I managed to do quite easily. But by the time I passed everyone, then the hards were on the same pace as the mediums. So that wasn't easy, but certainly if that safety car didn't come out, it would have been a lot easier, to say the least.
Well, I mean, what goes through your mind when you're battling with a driver like Danny Moreno, though, late in the race? I mean, obviously, it's watching it on screen for us. You know, certainly for me as a commentator, it's out of this world. You know, we try and describe it as best we can, but obviously, you know, there's stuff that happens out on circuit that's totally beyond reproach, beyond our way of thinking. I mean, just talk us through that feeling towards the end of this race. You know, what are the emotions when you're going through, say, the final 3 laps of a race like that after the safety car? You know, is it just full focus? Do you ever have a doubt in your mind as to how you're going to finish towards the end of the race?
Yeah, the aim is always to finish P1, of course. Especially when Danny passed me, I knew him on medium tires, new medium tires. I couldn't afford any mistakes. I had to push as hard as possible to stay in DRS, which is not very easy with someone like Danny, who is top 10, maybe even top 5 for the esports drivers at the moment. So yeah, I couldn't afford to make any mistakes and just push as hard as possible and hope for the best in the last lap, which it was basically.
Yeah, well, I got to say, we actually, that battle was taking place in front of a record ORL audience, 450 viewers watching that battle. Absolutely unbelievable. But congratulations, Jarno, on that incredible P1 victory. Got to say, brilliant once again. And I got to say, I don't know where we go on from here. I mean, that's just, you think you've seen it all, but you come back with something else. So amazing. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we move on to the machine, P2, Danny Moreno. Danny, I got to say, very impressed with that drive here today. And some would say that you probably deserved the win, but just talk us through that race. That was unbelievable.
Well, I messed up qualifying. I thought, when I saw I was P12 before ending my last lap, I said I broke into the start finish straight to start P12, or at least I thought I was starting P12. And yeah, a lot of people overtook me in their last lap in quali, so that made me start P16. In the first couple of laps, I managed to make up 5 positions already. Then I overtook Nardi, so I was now the leading driver with hearts. And yeah, when I saw Jarno was 7 seconds ahead, I knew I needed to get lucky to win that race. And yeah, I had the same pace as Jarno in the first stint, a bit quicker with the hards. So I knew towards the end it was going to be impossible to overtake Jarno. But then the safety car came out, and I thought, okay, this is my chance. And Jarno didn't pit. I was surprised, and I knew it was going to be really, really hard. So when I overtook him, I have to review the race, because that should never happen. Like, I was on fresh mediums. I knew the pace with hards was going to be really similar. But yeah, I should have won that. That should never happen, to get overtaken in the last lap.
Well, no, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I know that he was on hard tyres, you were on mediums, but obviously he could go that a little bit longer. I mean, it was always going to be a battle between you two. But since you joined ORL recently, your form has been spectacular. You've almost been like a shotgun out of the dark. I mean, last week's victory at Zandvoort, your first race win. You've come here again today looking to turn this league upside down, and you very nearly do it all the way back from where you were at the end of qualifying. Unbelievable drive. I mean, just talk us through the preparations you have to put in for the start of a race to pull off something like that, because you must put in hours of work.
Yeah, I put hours, obviously. With F1 esports starting next month, we have to practice a lot. And I knew for this track, it was better to start either on mediums or on hards. I don't think soft hards is an option. So after practicing, I decided to start on hards. I thought that was the best strategy. And yeah, but when you are driving against the best driver in the world in Jarno, you know it's going to be really, really hard to beat him.
Yeah, well, I got to say, you both are phenomenal talents, and I got to say, I think it's fair to say you're very much just as much of a match for this game as what Jarno is. And I got to say, I look forward to seeing what you guys do at the Pro Series. And I got to say, it leaves us all with a big question mark as to who is going to be really sort of tackling the top end. I mean, of course, we don't know what all the drivers are doing, but certainly this gives us a guide as to certainly the pace of yourself and Jarno. Certainly here at ORL, but no, I got to say, phenomenal race, and you firmly deserve that P2, if not more. And congratulations on a great result.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Danny. And I got to say, folks, that was absolutely unbelievable. I got to say, we're so lucky to have the talent that we have here at ORL, and I got to say, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. I'm actually sweating, folks. I'm sweating. I'm having to swing my liquids to keep myself going. But guys, I gotta say, just mano a mano, phenomenal race here tonight, and we were treated to some of the best racing on the planet. We were so fortunate, just the non-stop battle after battle after battle, and it's exactly what we want to see from all these drivers, certainly leading up to the Pro Series. And don't forget to tune in next Sunday as well, because we're going to be seeing yet more intense action once again here at the ORL channel. Don't forget as well to check out HyperX for all your wireless technology and needs as well, and be sure to follow them on Twitter as well as checking them out online. Lots of products there for you guys to check out. But don't forget as well, ORL, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you do, just so you're up to date with all the racing that happens. Of course, don't forget to check them out on Twitter as well. Leave us a follow. And if you want to follow me as well, that's CRGGO, and you can tweet me as well if you like. I don't mind a bit of tweeting now and again, so feel free to check me out. But I got to say, guys, thanks ever so much. You've been cool. Thanks for all the support. Really means a lot. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.